The December light slants in through lace curtains, cold and unforgiving. The kitchen clock ticks like a hammer against the silence. Margaret, 66, stands at the sink, hands in warm suds, her shoulders stiff but steady. The sharp click of heels breaks the quiet. Tiffany, 30, glossy, entitled. A crimson designer dress clings to her body, the kind that screams price tag. She doesn't knock. She never knocks. She sweeps into the kitchen like she owns it, fake smile flashing. Her stilettos strike the ceramic tile. Click, click, click. Each one drives a nail into Margaret's skull. Tiffany, smiling, voice sugar-dipped in venom. Margaret, I have marvelous news. She slides into a chair, crosses her legs, and settles like royalty addressing a servant. Tiffany continued. My entire family is coming here for Christmas. 25 people. Isn't that wonderful? Margaret doesn't turn around. The soapy sponge squeaks against porcelain. Tiffany continued. I already spoke with Valeria, Evelyn, Marco, Uncle Alejandro. They're thrilled. You'll handle the cooking, of course. 3 turkeys at least, your chocolate silk pie, and you'll decorate the house beautifully. It needs to look perfect for the Instagram photos. She pauses, expecting the usual response. The quiet stretches. Margaret turns, wipes her hands on a dish towel, looks Tiffany dead in the eye, calm as a still lake. Perfect. It will be perfect for you all, because I won't be here. The air leaves the room. Tiffany blinks, as if she's seen a ghost. What? I'm going on vacation. You all can cook, clean, serve yourselves. I am not your employee. Her voice is even, steady, which makes it worse. Tiffany's hands tremble around the porcelain coffee cup she's holding. But I already told everyone, you can't do this. Of course I can. It's my house. Those 4 words detonate. Tiffany shoots to her feet, heels cracking against tile. Her mask slips, rage flares in her face, pink blooming on her cheeks. Kevin will never allow this. Kevin can have his opinion. My decision is final. You're selfish. My family is flying in from everywhere, and you'll ruin their Christmas over a whim. A whim? She steps closer, lowering her voice. Margaret continued. 5 years of cooking, cleaning, humiliation, and you call it a whim? Tiffany's eyes narrow, snake-like. You know what, Margaret? You've always wanted to feel useful. That's what this is about, isn't it? You're bitter. That's not my problem. You should have consulted me before inviting 25 people into my home. Tiffany's mask of superiority cracks. Tiffany, snarling. Our house. Kevin is your son. This house will be ours one day. Silence. Margaret's eyes sharpen, dissecting Tiffany's slip. Interesting perspective. Very interesting. The sound of keys rattling at the front door cuts the tension. Kevin, 32, weary from work, suit wrinkled, tie loose. He steps in, Tiffany rushing to him like a tattling child. Kevin, your mother's gone insane. She says she won't help with Christmas. She says she's leaving us with everything. Kevin, Mom, really, don't you think you're being a little dramatic? The word lands like a slap. Margaret studies her breath, her spine straightens. No, Kevin, I'm not being dramatic. I'm being clear. It's Christmas. It's about family. Tiffany already invited everyone. We can't cancel now. I didn't say cancel. I said I won't be here. Tiffany darts forward, inserting herself between them. See? She's completely irrational. What will my family think? They'll think their niece invited them without the capacity to host, and they'll be correct. Kevin sighs, runs a hand through his hair. The patronizing tone creeps back. Mom, maybe this is just hormones. You've been sensitive lately. Margaret freezes. Ice in her veins. Hormonal changes? That's what you think this is. Kevin backpedals, guilty. Tiffany smirks, emboldened. This isn't about hormones. It's about respect. And neither of you have shown me any. Tiffany scoffs. We've always treated you well. You're part of the family. The part that serves, the part that cleans, the part that never gets asked, only commanded. Kevin softens his tone, hand reaching for her shoulder, the boyhood gesture of asking for candy. It's just 1 week, Mom. After Christmas, everything goes back to normal. Margaret's eyes harden.
No, Kevin, things will never go back to normal because I'm leaving tomorrow. The words land like a blade. Tiffany gasps, her face draining white. Tiffany, tomorrow? Tomorrow. I already have everything arranged. Silence thickens. Kevin's brow furrows, confusion clouding his face. Tiffany trembles, fury flashing beneath desperation. Margaret steps back, calm as ever. Margaret continued. For 5 years, you've mistaken my silence for weakness. Tomorrow, you'll learn the truth. The clock ticks. Tiffany's breath quickens. Kevin stares, lost between the two women in his life. The balance has shifted, and for the first time, Margaret holds the power. The kitchen clock ticks louder now, as if mocking the silence. Tiffany paces like a caged animal, heels stabbing the tiles. Kevin leans against the counter, rubbing his temples, caught between exhaustion and disbelief. Margaret sits at the table, calm, steady, the eye of the storm. Tiffany, voice cracking. Tomorrow? You can't. My family arrives in 3 days. Do you even understand what you're doing? Margaret. Perfectly. For the first time in 5 years, I understand exactly what I'm doing. Tiffany stops, eyes narrowing, her perfume heavy, her breath hot with rage. You think this makes you strong? It makes you pathetic. My family will see you for what you are, a bitter old woman who abandoned her own son on Christmas. Margaret smiles faintly, not breaking her gaze. If that's the story you want to tell, Tiffany, go ahead. I'm done defending myself. The words sting. Tiffany recoils, momentarily speechless. Kevin finally speaks, voice low, unsure. Mom, maybe we can compromise. Maybe you stay for Christmas, just this one last time, and after the new year, take your trip. Margaret head shakes slowly. No, you don't understand. This isn't sudden. I've been planning this for months. Both Tiffany and Kevin freeze. Tiffany's lips part in shock. Tiffany whispers, Planning? Margaret, leaning forward, deliberate. Every lie, every insult, every time you made me invisible in my own home. Did you really think I wouldn't notice? Did you think I was blind? Kevin shifts uncomfortably, a flicker of unease in his eyes. Tiffany, defensively. What lies? You're imagining things. Margaret, am I? The tension thickens. Tiffany forces a laugh, brittle and hollow. This is ridiculous. Kevin, tell her. She's losing it. Kevin doesn't answer. He studies his mother, noticing something unfamiliar, her composure, her quiet power. Margaret, tomorrow morning, I'm leaving. The house, the food, the cleaning, the chaos, all yours. Consider it a Christmas gift. Tiffany, voice rising. You can't. I already have. Her words are sharp, final. Interior living room, later that night. The house is dark except for the warm glow of a single lamp. Tiffany whispers furiously to Kevin, her hands flailing. Tiffany, urgent, hissing. You can't let her do this. She'll humiliate me. My family will think I'm incompetent. Kevin, rubbing his eyes. Maybe she's serious. Maybe she's really leaving. Tiffany, so stop her. You're her son. She listens to you. Kevin, not anymore. Tiffany stares at him, stunned by his hesitation. For the first time, she senses the ground shifting beneath her.
Margaret locks the door. She sits at her desk, opens her laptop. The glow of the screen lights her face, calm but resolute. A folder opens. Bank statements, emails, documents with Tiffany's name scattered across them. Margaret scrolls, her expression darkening as each file flashes by. She pauses at an email chain, Tiffany laughing with friends about how she manipulates Kevin. Another message, plans to convince him to sell the house. Margaret exhales slowly, her fingers tightening on the mouse. Margaret, quietly, to herself, not anymore. She closes the laptop, slips it into her suitcase. On the nightstand, a printed plane ticket. Miami, it reads, but Margaret smiles, knowing it's only half the truth. Interior kitchen, morning. The next day, early light spills across the counters. Margaret sips coffee at the table, suitcase by her side. Tiffany bursts in, hair disheveled, panic etched into her face. Tiffany, Margaret, be reasonable, please. We'll pay for your vacation. After Christmas. Just stay. Margaret, flat. You don't have the money. Tiffany freezes. Tiffany, too quick. Of course we do. Margaret tilts her head, amused. Then why the secret loans? The credit cards Kevin doesn't know about? Tiffany's mouth opens, but no sound comes. Kevin enters mid-silence, catching the tail end. What's this about loans? Margaret sips her coffee, watching Tiffany squirm. Ask your wife. Kevin's gaze sharpens on Tiffany. Tiff? Tiffany laughs nervously, her face pale. She's twisting things she doesn't understand. Margaret stands, suitcase handle clicking open. You'll have plenty of time to explain. I'm leaving now. Kevin, Mom. Margaret interrupts, firm. This isn't a discussion. Not anymore. She moves toward the door, her calm movements deliberate. Final. Tiffany watches helplessly, realization dawning. Tiffany whispers, shaken. She's really doing it. Kevin doesn't answer. Interior taxi, morning. The city slides past out the window. Margaret sits straight, suitcase beside her, face serene. Her phone vibrates relentlessly. Kevin, Tiffany, Kevin again. She turns it face down. Margaret, to herself. 5 years was enough. She closes her eyes, and for the first time in years, she smiles. Interior hotel suite, later. Margaret enters a spacious ocean view room. Floor-to-ceiling windows reveal crashing waves. She sets her suitcase down, takes a deep breath. Freedom. She orders room service, lobster and champagne. She reclines by the window as her phone buzzes with unanswered calls. On the table, she lays out the folder of Tiffany's secrets. She flips through it slowly, savoring the evidence like a novel she's read 100 times. Margaret picks up her phone, opens an email draft. The recipients? Alejandro, Valeria, Marco. Tiffany's family. She types deliberately. On screen, email. I'm concerned about Tiffany and Kevin's financial situation. I thought it best to share a few documents before Christmas so you understand what's truly happening. She attaches the bank statements. Hit send. Margaret leans back, satisfied. Merry Christmas, Tiffany. Interior, Kevin and Tiffany's house. Evening. Chaos. Tiffany paces the kitchen, phone in hand, mascara streaked. Kevin sits at the table, head in hands. The pantry is bare, the fridge nearly empty. Tiffany, snarling. She emptied everything. There's nothing here. Kevin, quiet, defeated. Maybe she wanted us to see what it's like. Tiffany slams her phone on the counter. My uncle will kill me. My whole family is expecting a feast. What do I tell them? Kevin looks at her, weary. The truth. The word hangs between them. Tiffany's face twists in denial. Never. The phone buzzes again. Tiffany glances at the screen, her face draining of color. Kevin, who is it? Tiffany. Voice small. Alejandro. Kevin. Frowns, confused. What does he want? Tiffany swallows hard. The email notification glows on her screen. She doesn't answer. Interior, hotel suite. Night. Margaret sits in a white robe, sipping wine. Outside, the ocean crashes. Her phone vibrates. A new message. She opens it. From Alejandro. We've decided to arrive early. We need to speak with Tiffany about important matters before Christmas. Margaret's smiles widens. Perfect. The hum of the ceiling fan. Margaret kneels by a low cabinet in Kevin's office. Dust on her fingers. She pulls out a forgotten folder wedged in the corner. At first glance, it looks like work papers, but the second page stops her. Tiffany's name, bold. Repeated. Credit cards. Loans. Statements stamped past due. Margaret's hands tremble as she flips through page after page. $1,200 at Saks, $700 at Gucci, multiple transactions at luxury boutiques, all in Kevin's name. Margaret whispers, No, 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 no. Her eyes widen as she reaches a loan document. The house, her house, listed as collateral. Interior, bedroom, same night. The clock shows 2:37 a.m. The house sleeps. Margaret sits cross-legged on her bed, the folder spread out. She reads, every word slicing deeper. An email printout. Tiffany writing to a friend. On paper, Tiffany's email. Kevin is clueless. If I keep him distracted, I can convince him to sell the house. That money will set us free. Margaret covers her mouth, horrified. Another message. Tiffany bragging about fooling Kevin with lies about her income. Another, a plan to host elaborate Christmases to impress wealthy relatives and then ask for support. Margaret leans back, chest heaving. Rage, grief, betrayal, a storm in her veins. Margaret, quietly, but trembling, but resolute. Not my house, not my life. Interior, law office, day. Flashback. A clean, sterile room. Margaret sits across from Robert, 50s, calm and sharp. Papers between them. I want to protect my house. Permanently. Tiffany can never sell it. Not now, not after I'm gone. Robert. That can be arranged. A trust. It ensures no one touches the deed without your signature. Margaret nods, lips pressed tight. Do it.
A discreet meeting. Margaret slides a thick envelope across the table to a private investigator, 40s, trench coat, unshaven. Follow her. I need to know everything. He flips through the documents. This woman, she spends like a queen. Where's she getting the money? That's what I need you to find out. Entire Margaret's bedroom, night. Flashback, weeks later. The investigator lays down photos and reports. Tiffany walking out of luxury boutiques, laughing with friends at high-end restaurants, swiping cards under Kevin's name. He flips to a page. She's working part-time, boutique job, minimum wage. She told Kevin she makes 3 times that. It's all smoke. Margaret studies the photos, her jaw tightening. There's more. She's telling her family you're wealthy, twice the real house value, big savings accounts. None of it's true. Margaret exhales, her anger simmering into something colder. Calculation. She's building a world of lies. Then let's give her a stage to perform on. Entire Margaret's bedroom, night. Margaret at her laptop, typing with careful precision. Emails to Alejandro, Valeria, and Marco. On screen, email, polite, strategic. I'm worried about Kevin and Tiffany. Perhaps you should see these documents. I attach them only because I believe honesty is essential in family matters. She clicks send. Entire hotel lobby, present day. Margaret wheels her suitcase across the polished floor. The concierge greets her warmly. She checks in under a false smile. Suite with an ocean view, as requested. 2 weeks? Perfect. Entire hotel suite, night. Margaret unpacks deliberately. She removes delicate china, family Christmas decorations, and locks them in a hidden compartment of her suitcase. She smirks, remembering how she'd packed them away before leaving the house. Cut to Kevin and Tiffany's pantry, empty shelves. Cut to her locked cabinet at home, china and ornaments hidden. Cut to the canceled cleaning service slip on her counter. Back to Margaret. She pours wine, gazes out at the moonlit ocean. Let them try to host without me. Entire Kevin and Tiffany's house, morning. Tiffany tears open cabinets, frantic. Nothing. Plates missing. Pantry bare. Where's the food? Where's the china? Kevin, groggy, scratches his head. She took it or locked it away? What do we do? 25 people, Kevin! 25! Kevin shrugs helplessly. We figure it out. Tiffany slams the cabinet shut. She's trying to destroy me. Entire hotel suite, same morning. Room service arrives, lobster thermidor, champagne. Margaret smiles, ignoring her buzzing phone. She opens a new email. From Alejandro. We will be arriving a day early, December 23rd. We must discuss important matters with Tiffany. Margaret chuckles, raising her glass. Right on schedule. Entire Kevin and Tiffany's house, evening. Tiffany sits in the dark scrolling her phone. A new email notification appears. She opens it. Her face drains. On screen, email from Alejandro. Tiffany, we need to discuss your financial situation urgently. We are arriving early. Be prepared to explain. Tiffany's breath quickens. No, no! Kevin leans over her shoulder, reads. His jaw tightens. What financial situation? Tiffany looks at him, terrified. I can explain. Kevin glares, but the sound of his mother's words echoes in his head. Ask your wife. Entire hotel suite, night. Margaret sits by the window, ocean roaring below. She writes in her journal, her voice steady in her thoughts. For 5 years, I was their servant, their maid, their invisible support. They thought I was weak. But weakness learns. Weakness watches. And when the time comes, weakness strikes. She closes the journal, turns off her phone. Tomorrow, the house of cards falls. The camera lingers on her face, serene, almost radiant, as if she is already watching Tiffany's world collapse.
Sunlight pours through the glass wall. Margaret, wrapped in a white robe, sits on the terrace. A plate of eggs Benedict and smoked salmon rests before her. Steam curls from her coffee. Her phone vibrates violently against the table. 20 missed calls. She lets it buzz. Finally, she taps voicemail. Kevin. Mom, please pick up. Tiffany's losing it. We don't know what to make for breakfast for 25 people. The store doesn't open until 8. They'll be here at 8 sharp. Please call me. Tiffany. Voice high, frantic. Margaret, I know you're mad, but don't punish me like this. My uncle Alejandro flew in from Miami. My sister Valeria canceled work. I don't know how to cook for so many. Please at least tell me where you keep the china. Tiffany, sobbing. The fridge is empty. The pantry is empty. Where's the food? Where are the decorations? Please just tell me where you hid them. Margaret takes a slow sip of coffee, the corners of her lips curving. Margaret to herself. Figure it out, Tiffany. The clock blares 7:50 a.m. Tiffany runs through the house barefoot, hair wild, makeup streaked. Kevin fumbles with his phone, dialing frantically. The doorbell rings. Both freeze. Kevin, hoarse whisper. They're early. Tiffany's face drains white. No. Oh, God. No. The bell rings again. Louder. Alejandro's booming voice echoes outside. Alejandro! Tiffany, open up! Tiffany drags a trembling hand across her face,
tries to plaster on a smile, and pulls the door open. Alejandro, 60s, silver hair, commanding presence, steps inside with his wife, his eyes immediately scanning the undecorated room. Behind him, Valeria carries a leather folder. Marco follows stern and tight-lipped. Alejandro, stiff smile. So, where is Margaret? Tiffany freezes, her mouth dry. Kevin shifts uneasily behind her. She had an emergency. She left early. Valeria's sharp eyes narrow, flicking across the empty shelves, the bare tree, the scattered pizza boxes from last night. This doesn't look like an emergency. It looks like chaos. Margaret lounges in a spa chair, cucumbers over her eyes, soft music playing. A masseuse kneads her shoulders. Her phone buzzes on the table. She lifts it lazily, sees a new email. From Valeria. On screen, email from Valeria. We've just arrived. Tiffany told us you left for an emergency. The house is bare, no food, no decorations. Can we speak privately? Margaret types her reply, calm and deliberate. On screen, Margaret's reply. Dear Valeria, I regret the confusion. Tiffany invited you without consulting me. She assured everyone she had everything under control. Perhaps it's time you ask her directly. Warm regards. Margaret. She sets the phone aside, exhales as the masseuse presses deeper. The family sits stiffly. Alejandro leans forward, elbows on his knees, his gaze cutting Tiffany to ribbons. Alejandro. Tiffany, we received documents, bank statements, loans, all in Kevin's name. Care to explain? Tiffany swallows hard. Tiffany. Those aren't accurate. Margaret, she's trying to make me look bad. She forged them. Marco scoffs. I spoke to the bank myself. They're real. Kevin's head snaps toward Tiffany, betrayal flooding his face. Kevin. Is this true? Did you... Tiffany, interrupting desperate. No, Kevin, please. They're exaggerating. I just borrowed a little. Valeria slams her folder shut. $50,000 is not a little. The words hang heavy. Tiffany's hands shake. Margaret reclines with champagne in hand, watching the ocean roll. Her phone buzzes again. Another voicemail. Kevin. Mom, please. They're tearing Tiffany apart. Uncle Alejandro is furious. Valeria says it's fraud. I don't know what to do. Just please come home. Help us. Margaret smiles, tips her glass. Not today. Panic everywhere. Grocery bags dumped on counters, frozen turkeys half-thawed in the sink. Tiffany breaks down in tears. Tiffany. I can't do this. I can't cook for them. Kevin stares at her hollow-eyed. Maybe Mom was right. Maybe you should have thought before. Tiffany, snarling, cutting him off. Don't you dare take her side. But Kevin's silence says enough. Margaret dines on lobster, a violinist playing in the background. She checks her email. From Alejandro. We must speak directly. Tiffany is collapsing. Kevin is shocked. We now know the truth. Thank you for your honesty. Margaret types her reply with steady fingers. On screen, Margaret's reply. You deserve the truth. Tiffany has lied for years, but she must face the consequences herself. I will not shield her anymore. She hits send, her eyes glinting with satisfaction. The family gathering has turned tribunal. Tiffany sits slumped on the couch, mascara streaks down her cheeks. Alejandro paces, fury radiating. Alejandro. We traveled here believing you were a capable hostess, a responsible wife. Instead, we find debt, lies, and a bare house. Tiffany, sobbing. It's not my fault. Margaret, she abandoned me. Valeria, Margaret isn't the problem. You are. Kevin sits silent, staring at the floor, shame washing over him. Interior, hotel suite, night. Margaret closes her laptop, the sounds of crashing waves beyond the window. She pulls the curtains open wide. The night sky glitters, free and infinite. She pours the last of her champagne, lifts the glass, and whispers, "To freedom and to truth." She drinks, her face glowing with the quiet triumph of a woman who finally reclaimed her power. The once pristine room is a battlefield of voices. Half-tossed turkeys drip on the counter. Empty pizza boxes litter the coffee table. The smell of grease and desperation hangs heavy. Alejandro paces, his jaw tight, his eyes burning into Tiffany. Valeria sits upright, folder in her lap, every gesture sharp and precise. Marco leans back, arms crossed, disappointment etched in his face. Tiffany slumps on the couch, shoulders caved in, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Kevin sits beside her, silent, staring at the floor. Alejandro. Booming. Enough lies, Tiffany. We have the documents, bank statements, loans, credit cards in Kevin's name. Tiffany, pleading, "Uncle, please, it's not what it looks like." Valeria, cutting her off. "It looks like $50,000 of reckless debt. It looks like fraud." Tiffany bursts into tears. "I only wanted us to have the life we deserve." Alejandro, "And you thought deception would get you there?" Kevin finally looks up, his voice low, strangled. "Tell me it isn't true, Tiffany. Tell me you didn't open accounts in my name." Tiffany grabs his hand, desperate. "Kevin, I swear, I was going to fix it before you ever knew. I just needed time." Kevin, voice cracking, "Fix it? With what? Lies? With my mother's house?" Silence. Tiffany's face drains. She glances at Alejandro, realizing the slip. Kevin continued, whispering, horrified, You planned to sell Mom's house?" Tiffany pulls her hand back, trembling. I was trying to save us." Valeria slaps the folder shut, the sound sharp as a gunshot. "Save you? By indebting everyone else? By lying about inheritances that don't exist?" Marco, "You told me Margaret was leaving you the house. That's why I wasted time evaluating properties." Tiffany's mouth opens, closes. She looks cornered, panicked. "I only said that because she would one day." Alejandro slams his fist onto the table. "Enough. This stops now." Margaret lounges in her robe, ocean waves crashing beyond her window. Her phone buzzes again. She lets it ring, then checks the voicemail. Valeria voicemail. "Mrs. Margaret, I've uncovered more. Tiffany used Kevin's identity to open accounts. This could be criminal. He's in shock. Please, call me." Margaret sets the phone down. She exhales slowly, satisfaction glowing in her eyes. And the house of cards falls. Interior, Kevin and Tiffany's living room, later. The confrontation intensifies. Tiffany clutches a tissue, her sobs raw, ugly. "You don't understand. Margaret has always hated me. She's poisoning you against me." "No one needed Margaret to show us the truth. Your actions speak for themselves." Alejandro steps closer, towering over Tiffany. "For years, you paraded as the perfect hostess. You bragged about your prosperity. All lies. And now you've dragged Kevin into your mess."
Kevin lowers his head into his hands. God, Tiffany, what have you done? Tiffany, pleading to Kevin. I did it for us, for our future. Our future built on lies? On my mother's back? The words cut deeper than any shout. Tiffany flinches, shaking. Valeria leans forward, voice sharp as glass. Here's what's going to happen. Every loan will be called in immediately. Every cousin you borrowed from will demand repayment. And any hope of financial support for Kevin's business is gone. Marco adds, his tone final. You will also repay me for the hours wasted on your false claims. Tiffany's face crumples. No, please, don't do this. Alejandro's voice hardens. You've disgraced us, and for once, Tiffany, you'll face consequences. Interior, hotel suite, midnight. Margaret sits by the window, pen in hand, journaling by lamplight. Margaret V.O. For years, they called me useful, as if that was my only value. But tonight they see the truth. I was never their servant. I was the pillar holding everything upright. Remove the pillar, and the house collapses. She closes the journal, satisfied. Interior, Kevin and Tiffany's bedroom, late night. Kevin and Tiffany sit apart. Kevin at the edge of the bed, hunched. Tiffany curled against the headboard, red-eyed. Kevin, low, broken. You lied to me. For years. About money. About Mom. About everything. Tiffany, snarling through tears. Your mother set me up. She wants to ruin me. No. She wanted respect. Something you never gave her. Tiffany glares, her voice venomous. If she thinks she's won, she's wrong. I'm your wife. This house will be mine. Kevin turns, finally meeting her eyes. His expression is colder than she's ever seen. Not anymore. The silence that follows is heavier than any argument. Interior, hotel suite, early morning, December 24th. Margaret wakes to soft sunlight. She stretches, refreshed, peaceful. She packs her suitcase, her movements slow, deliberate. On the desk lies a folder from Robert, her lawyer. She places it carefully on top of her clothes. She looks in the mirror, adjusting her scarf, and whispers to her reflection, time to come home. Interior, Kevin and Tiffany's living room, same morning. The family gathers again, tense, exhausted. Alejandro speaks with quiet authority. This is not a Christmas celebration. It's an intervention. Tiffany, you've deceived us long enough. Today, everything changes. Tiffany clutches Kevin's arm, desperate. Kevin, please, don't let them do this. Kevin looks at her, torn, broken, but says nothing. The doorbell rings. Everyone freezes. The door opens. Margaret stands there, suitcase in hand, Robert, the lawyer, at her side. Calm, composed, radiant. Good morning. The room falls silent. Tiffany's face goes pale. She whispers, no. Alejandro rises, extending a respectful hand. Mrs. Margaret, finally. Margaret takes it with calm grace. Tiffany's chest rises in shallow gasps. You weren't supposed to come back. Margaret glances at her, unfazed. That's what you thought. Robert clears his throat, placing a leather case on the coffee table. The click of the clasps echoes. I am Robert Miller, Mrs. Margaret's attorney. We're here to clarify several legal matters. Kevin blinks, confused. What legal matters? What's going on? Robert opens a folder, pulling out notarized papers. First, the house. It is now secured in a family trust. Neither Tiffany nor Kevin may sell, mortgage, or alter ownership without Margaret's written consent. Kevin stares. Tiffany jolts upright, panic flashing. What? That's impossible. Margaret, flat, calm. It's done. You will never touch this house, Tiffany. Not while I'm alive. Not after I'm gone. Tiffany, shrill. You can't do this. Kevin is your son. This house will be ours. Margaret, quietly, cutting her off. No, this house is mine. Built by my hands, paid with my sacrifices, and now legally protected from your greed. The room freezes under the weight of her words.
Robert lays out another document. Second, residency terms. Effective immediately, Tiffany no longer has unrestricted access to this home. Any visit must be requested and approved. Tiffany's mouth opens, but no sound comes. Kevin looks at his mother, ashamed. Mom, I didn't know. You never asked. For 5 years, you never wondered why your wife never cooked or cleaned, why she took credit for every gathering. You chose blindness. Kevin lowers his head. Silence. Alejandro leans forward, eyes drilling into Tiffany. You lied to us about your wealth, about your income, about Margaret's supposed inheritance. Valeria flips a page from her folder. You borrowed $20,000 from cousins, claiming Margaret had left you the house in her will. Tiffany grips the edge of the sofa, trembling. I only said that because you wanted to gamble with money that was never yours. Marco's voice cuts in sharp. And you wasted my time evaluating a property you had no rights to. Tiffany pleading, wild-eyed. I was trying to build a future. A future of lies. Tiffany covers her face, sobbing. Interior living room, continuous. Robert closes the folder, his tone final. If Tiffany does not repay the loans obtained under false pretenses, legal action will follow. Fraud, identity misuse, and defamation of Margaret's estate are prosecutable. The words land like hammer blows. Tiffany sobs harder. Kevin grips his hair, shaking. God, what have you done? Margaret turns to him, her voice steady, but tinged with sorrow. Son, I love you. But love does not mean servitude. For 5 years, you let her treat me as the maid in my own house. Today, it ends. Kevin's eyes brim with tears. I'm sorry, Mom. I should have seen it. The clock strikes noon. Christmas Eve. The air is heavy with judgment and truth. Margaret steps into the center, her voice clear. For 5 years, I sacrificed my dignity to keep this family together. But a family without respect is no family at all. She looks directly at Tiffany, who stares back with hollow eyes. Margaret continued, You wanted a perfect Christmas. You wanted to impress your wealthy relatives. Instead, you will give them the only gift that matters, the truth. Alejandro nods gravely. And the consequences that follow. Valeria closes her folder with a snap. Every cent will be repaid. Every cousin will be informed. No more lies. Marco leans forward, eyes hard. If you try to deceive us again, Tiffany, it won't be family you'll answer to. It'll be the law. Tiffany collapses into sobs, her body shaking. Kevin watches, torn between pity and fury. Margaret, calm, unshaken, turns to the group. Those who wish to stay here for Christmas, to celebrate with honesty, respect, and gratitude, are welcome. Those who prefer Tiffany's fantasies may leave. The silence that follows is thick. Alejandro stands first, steady. I will stay. Valeria and Marco nod in agreement. Margaret turns to Kevin. And you, son? Kevin hesitates, his eyes flicking between his mother and his wife. Tiffany grips his arm desperately, whispering, Kevin, don't leave me. Kevin closes his eyes, anguish twisting his face. I need time. Margaret nods once, her expression unreadable. A memory. Margaret on her terrace, champagne in hand. Margaret voice over. Justice always comes. Sometimes late, but it always arrives. The Christmas lights glow dimly, reflected in Margaret's steady eyes. Tiffany sits crumpled, her world in ruins. Kevin slumps in silence. The family watches, judgment heavy. Margaret steps into the center, her voice clear. For 5 years, I sacrificed my dignity to keep this family together. But a family without respect is no family at all. She looks directly at Tiffany, who stares back with hollow eyes. Margaret continued, You wanted a perfect Christmas. You wanted to impress your wealthy relatives. Instead, you will give them the only gift that matters, the truth. Alejandro nods gravely. And the consequences that follow. Valeria closes her folder with a snap. Every cent will be repaid. Every cousin will be informed. No more lies. Marco leans forward, eyes hard. If you try to deceive us again, Tiffany, it won't be family you'll answer to. It'll be the law. Tiffany collapses into sobs, her body shaking. Kevin watches, torn between pity and fury. Margaret, calm, unshaken, turns to the group. Those who wish to stay here for Christmas, to celebrate with honesty, respect, and gratitude, are welcome. Those who prefer Tiffany's fantasies may leave. The silence that follows is thick. Alejandro stands first, steady. I will stay. Valeria and Marco nod in agreement. Margaret turns to Kevin. And you, son? Kevin hesitates, his eyes flicking between his mother and his wife. Tiffany grips his arm desperately, whispering, Kevin, don't leave me. Kevin closes his eyes, anguish twisting his face. I need time. Margaret nods once, her expression unreadable. A memory. Margaret on her terrace, champagne in hand. Margaret voice over. Justice always comes. Sometimes late, but it always arrives. The Christmas lights glow dimly, reflected in Margaret's steady eyes. Tiffany sits crumpled, her world in ruins. Kevin slumps in silence. The family watches, judgment heavy. Margaret lifts her chin, the weight of years falling away. This house is mine again. My life is mine again. And tomorrow, Christmas will not be about spectacle. It will be about truth. The camera holds on her face, calm, fierce, unbreakable, as the world she endured for 5 years finally collapses. Sunlight filters through frosted windows. The tree stands modestly decorated, its lights soft and warm. For the first time in years, the house feels peaceful. Margaret sets a tray of fresh coffee on the table. No rush, no demands. Just the quiet dignity of control. Alejandro, Valeria, and Marco sip their cups politely, watching her with newfound respect. Kevin enters, shoulders slumped. Tiffany trails behind, her face blotched from a night of crying. She hasn't changed clothes. The silence is unbearable. Margaret, quiet, steady. "Merry Christmas." Alejandro inclines his head. "Merry Christmas, Mrs. Margaret." Tiffany doesn't respond. Her eyes dart nervously around the room. Breakfast is quiet, tension simmering beneath the clink of cutlery. Tiffany pushes food around her plate, appetite gone. Kevin stares at his coffee, lost in thought. Finally, Valeria speaks. "Tiffany, it's time." Tiffany looks up, confused. "You will draft repayment agreements. Every dollar borrowed, every false promise, written, signed, binding." Tiffany's lip trembles. "But I don't—" "Then you will work. You will pay. No more handouts." Tiffany's lip trembles. To Kevin, desperately, "Say something. Tell them I can't do this alone." Kevin looks at her, pain etched deep.